She's eating garbage, a voice hissed as the car screeched to a halt. The little girl froze, clutching a torn bag, her lips trembling. Princess Diana stepped out slowly, eyes locked on the child, the street falling silent. The girl looked up and murmured, "I was saving this for later." The words crushed everyone. No one knew that one sentence was about to expose the world's cruelty. "Where are you watching from today?" The brakes screamed, and the world jolted out of its routine. The black car wasn't meant to stop there. It wasn't meant to notice the cracked pavement, the sour smell of waste, or the small figure crouched beside an overflowing trash bin. Yet it did. The driver's hands tightened on the wheel as the figure outside straightened in panic. The girl couldn't have been more than 8. Her dress hung in loose threads, one shoe missing, the other split at the sole. In her hands was a plastic bag, stained and torn, its contents hidden but unmistakable by the smell. She looked up, eyes wide, already bracing for shouting. A door opened. Gasps rippled through the small crowd gathering on the sidewalk. Phones froze mid-air. Whispers collided. "That's her. She stopped. Why would she stop here?" Princess Diana stepped onto the pavement, the noise of the street dimming as if someone had turned down the volume of the world. Her posture was calm, but her eyes locked onto the girl with a sharpness that missed nothing. The girl took a step back. "Don't," the child blurted, voice cracking. "I didn't steal it." Diana paused. Slowly she crouched, lowering herself until they were eye level. "What's your name?" she asked softly. The girl hesitated, fingers tightening around the bag. "Amina." A man from the crowd muttered. "She's digging through trash." Another voice followed, sharper. "Someone should move her along." Diana didn't turn. Her attention never left the child. "What's in the bag, Amina?" she asked. The girl swallowed. "Food. Sort of." One of Diana's aides stepped forward, uneasy. "Ma'am, this isn't safe." Diana raised a single hand. The aide stopped instantly. Amina peeked into the bag, then whispered, "I was saving the bread part." "For later?" Diana asked. "For my brother," the girl said. "He cries at night." The street fell into a heavy silence. Even the man who had spoken earlier looked away. Diana's jaw tightened, just slightly. "Where is he now?" she asked. Amina pointed down the road. "Under the bridge. If it rains, it floods." A police officer approached, clearing his throat. "Your Highness, we can handle this." "Handle what?" Diana asked quietly. The officer faltered. Amina's shoulders curled inward. "I can go," she said quickly. "I won't be here." Diana reached out, not to stop her, but to gently touch the torn bag. "No," Diana said. "You won't." The word cut through the air, firm, unmovable. The crowd shifted. Cameras lifted again. No one spoke. Diana stood slowly, eyes sweeping over the people watching. The uniforms, the cars, the clean shoes. "She shouldn't be invisible," Diana said. "Not today." Amina looked up, confused, hope and fear colliding in her eyes. Diana turned toward her car and said something that made her security team freeze in alarm. The sentence hadn't even settled before the street turned hostile. Diana's words lingered in the air, heavy and dangerous. Her security team exchanged quick glances, tension tightening their shoulders. One of them leaned closer, voice low. "Ma'am, we need to leave." The crowd shifted, no longer silent, uneasy, curious. Some faces hardened. A woman crossed her arms. "There are children like that everywhere," she said loudly. "You can't stop for all of them." A man scoffed. "She chose this life." Amina flinched at the words, shrinking back toward the trash bin as if it were safer than the people. Her fingers dug into the plastic bag. Diana turned slowly toward the voices. Her expression wasn't angry. That somehow made it worse. "She didn't choose hunger," Diana said. "It chose her." A sharp laugh cut through. "And what are you going to do? Take her home?" Cameras clicked. A reporter whispered into a microphone. The officer shifted his weight, uncomfortable. Amina tugged at Diana's sleeve, panic creeping into her voice. "Please don't fight them. They get mad." Diana looked down at her, eyes softening again. "No one gets to be mad at you," she said. An aide stepped in, firm. "We're creating a scene." "This is already a scene," Diana replied quietly. The officer cleared his throat again. "We've had complaints about loitering here. She can't stay." Amina's breath hitched. "I'll go. I know where to hide." Diana straightened, her posture changing, no longer gentle but unyielding. "Where exactly would you like her to go?" Diana asked. The officer hesitated. "That's not my responsibility." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Diana nodded slowly as if absorbing something ugly and undeniable. "So no one's responsible," she said. "That's convenient." Amina whispered, "They'll take the bag." Diana glanced at it again. The torn plastic, the crumbs, the way the child guarded it like treasure. "Has anyone here eaten today?" Diana asked suddenly. The question landed wrong. People shifted, confused. Of course, someone muttered. More than once? Diana continued. Silence. She gestured gently toward Amina. She hasn't. A man snapped. This is not your problem. Diana met his eyes. It became my problem the moment I saw her. The officer took a step closer. Ma'am, with respect. No, Diana said softly. With humanity. Amina stared up at her, eyes glassy. Are you going to leave? Diana didn't answer immediately. She looked around at the watching faces, the judgment, the impatience, the discomfort. Then she did something that sent a shock through the street. She reached into her bag. If dignity embarrasses you, Diana said, that says everything. Amina's grip tightened as the crowd leaned in. Diana pulled out an item no one expected, and the murmurs exploded into outrage. The object in her hand silenced the street, but the child broke it. Diana's fingers closed around a crisp white handkerchief, edged with lace, the kind that belonged in palaces, not alleys. A ripple of confusion moved through the crowd. That's it? Someone scoffed. She's mocking us, another muttered. Diana knelt again, unfolding the cloth with deliberate care. She wiped the dirt from Amina's hands, slow and gentle, as if nothing else in the world mattered. Amina stiffened, then whispered urgently, You'll get dirty. Diana smiled faintly. I already am. The girl blinked, unsure she'd heard correctly. An aide stepped forward, voice tight. Ma'am, cameras. Let them watch, Diana said. The reporter leaned closer. Princess, are you adopting her? Amina's head snapped up. Fear flashed across her face. No, the girl said quickly. Please don't send me away. The words cut through Diana's composure. She paused, eyes searching the child's face. Why would you think that? Diana asked. They take kids who get noticed, Amina whispered. They say it's help. The officer looked away. Diana's jaw clenched. No one is taking you anywhere. Amina shook her head. They always say that. A small voice drifted from the edge of the crowd. A boy, no older than 5, stood barefoot, watching with wide eyes. She feeds him, he said, heads turned. He's my brother, Amina said quickly. I told you, the boy stepped closer, clutching a broken toy car. She didn't eat today. The crowd stilled again. Not shocked, exposed. Diana looked at the boy. What's your name? Yusuf, he said. Do you trust me, Yusuf? Diana asked. He nodded without hesitation. That nod did something to the people watching. A crack, a shift. A woman near the front wiped her eyes. A man swallowed hard. Diana reached into her bag again, this time pulling out a small wrapped sandwich from earlier that morning. Amina's eyes widened. That's yours. Yes, Diana said, placing it gently in her hands. And now it's yours. Amina hesitated. For him, for both of you. The girl broke the sandwich in half with shaking hands. She gave the larger piece to Yusuf. The cameras clicked faster. An aide whispered, This is getting out of control. Diana stood slowly, her voice low but carrying. No, she said, it's getting honest. Amina looked up, crumbs on her fingers. Are you really staying? Diana didn't answer the question. She turned toward the officer. Where did you say the bridge was? Sometimes the smallest voices tell the loudest truths. The officer stiffened. You can't go there. Diana took a step forward anyway, and the security team moved to block her. Security stepped in front of her, and she didn't slow down. The street tensed as if bracing for impact. 2 security officers shifted into position, their bodies forming a quiet wall between Diana and the road ahead. Ma'am, that area is unsafe, one said carefully. We can arrange assistance without seeing it, Diana asked. No one answered. Amina's fingers curled into Diana's coat, small and trembling. Please don't go there, she whispered. They'll laugh. Diana looked down. Who will? Everyone, Amina said. They always do. Diana straightened, eyes lifting past the officers, past the crowd, toward the distant shadow beneath the bridge. The smell of damp concrete drifted with the wind. Move, Diana said. The word wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. An aide rushed in. This will cause backlash. Headlines, political calls. Good, Diana replied. Let them read something real. The officer stepped closer, voice strained. Your Highness, if something happens, something is already happening, Diana said. You've just learned to look away. The crowd murmured again, louder now. Some nodded. Others scowled. A man shouted, This is a stunt. A woman snapped back. Then why does it hurt to watch? Amina tugged Diana's sleeve again. If you come, they'll blame me. Diana knelt once more, meeting her eyes. No one will blame you for surviving. Yusuf shuffled closer, clutching the empty sandwich wrapper. Is she coming with us? Diana glanced at the officers blocking her path. Then at the children. Yes, she said. I am. The officers didn't move. Diana took one step forward, then another. The crowd gasped as security hesitated, just long enough. Diana passed them. Cameras surged. Voices overlapped. Is she really going? This is insane. Stop her. Amina led the way, barefoot steps quick and uncertain. Diana followed, her pace steady, her expression unreadable. Under the bridge, the light dimmed. Cardboard walls, damp blankets, the smell of rust and rain. Amina stopped. This is it, she said quietly. Diana took in the space, the silence, the absence of dignity disguised as normal. She turned back toward the crowd, now spilling closer. This, Diana said, her voice carrying, is what neglect looks like. A hush fell again. An aide whispered urgently, "You're crossing a line." Diana nodded. That line should have been crossed long ago. If this makes you uncomfortable, Diana said, imagine living here. Amina looked up at her, eyes shining with something new, hope. From the edge of the crowd, a suited man made a phone call and smiled. What would you do in this moment? The phone call ended and the tone of the street changed instantly. The suited man lowered his phone, the smile never leaving his face. He adjusted his cufflinks and stepped forward, shoes untouched by dirt, confidence polished and sharp. This has gone far enough, he said calmly. Diana turned toward him, eyes steady. Has it? He glanced at the children, then away. You're creating a situation. Protocols exist for a reason. Amina stiffened. Yusuf hid behind her leg. Protocols didn't feed them, Diana replied. The man exhaled, patient. With respect, this is not your role. A murmur of agreement rippled through a corner of the crowd. Pressure crept in, not loud, but heavy. An aide leaned close to Diana. Calls are coming in. Very high places. Diana didn't look back. Then they finally noticed. The officer cleared his throat again. We've been instructed to relocate the children. Amina's breath caught. No, please. Diana stepped forward instinctively, but the suited man raised a hand. Temporary shelter, he said smoothly. Paperwork, assessments. Amina shook her head. They won't let us stay together. Yusuf whispered. I don't like the buildings. Diana's eyes hardened. They stay together. That's not guaranteed, the man replied. The tension snapped tight. Security shifted closer. Cameras zoomed in. You're making this worse, the man said quietly. For them. Diana stared at him. Worse than hunger? He didn't answer. A woman from the crowd shouted. Just take them away. Another voice shot back. Shame on you. The noise rose, fractured, ugly. Amina tugged Diana's sleeve. I knew this would happen. Diana knelt, voice low. Look at me. The girl met her eyes, tears spilling over. I won't disappear, Diana said. Not you, not today. The suited man checked his watch. We don't have time for this. Diana stood slowly, her presence shifting again. Quiet, dangerous. You're right, she said. We don't. She turned to the officer. If you move them, I go with them. The officer froze. That's impossible. So is ignoring children eating trash, Diana replied. The crowd gasped again. The man's smile finally faltered. You're forcing our hand. Diana stepped closer, lowering her voice. Good. Amina clutched Yusuf tightly. Are they taking us now? Diana didn't answer immediately. She looked at the bridge, at the crowd, at the man who thought power only moved one way. You can't manage suffering into silence, Diana said. It screams. The suited man nodded once, to someone unseen. Police radios crackled at once, and officers began to close in. The radios crackled, and trust collapsed in a single breath. The sharp static echoed under the bridge like a warning shot. Officers shifted positions, boots scraping concrete, forming a slow, tightening circle. The crowd sensed it immediately, the moment when authority stops pretending to listen. Amina's grip on Yusuf tightened until his sleeve wrinkled. They're doing it, she whispered. They're taking us. Diana stepped forward. Stop. The officer in charge avoided her eyes. Orders changed. From whom? Diana asked. He hesitated. That hesitation was the answer. The suited man reappeared at the edge of the light, voice smooth again. This is for their own good. Amina shook her head violently. He promised. They always promise. Diana turned to him, disbelief cutting through her composure. You said temporary shelter. And this is the process, he replied. You don't understand how these things work. Diana's voice dropped. I understand exactly how they work. An officer reached for Amina's arm. No, Yusuf cried, stepping in front of his sister. The movement froze everyone for half a second. Diana moved instantly, placing herself between the officer and the children. If you touch them, she said quietly, you touch me. The officer faltered. Cameras surged closer. The suited man's jaw tightened. This is not a spectacle, he snapped. Then stop performing cruelty, Diana replied. Amina's voice trembled. You said I wouldn't disappear. Diana looked down at her, and for the first time uncertainty flickered across her face. Not fear, something worse. Betrayal. I believed them too, Diana said softly. Once, the officer's radio crackled again, louder, insistent. Proceed, the voice said. Two officers stepped forward together. The crowd erupted, shouting, pleading, arguing. Leave them alone. She's a child. This is wrong. The suited man raised his voice. Clear the area. Hands reached for Amina. Yusuf screamed. Diana grabbed the children, pulling them close, her voice sharp and unyielding. Enough. The words sliced through the chaos. For a moment, no one moved. Then an officer grabbed Diana's arm. Gasps exploded. Don't. The aide shouted. Do you know who she is? The officer released her instantly. But the damage was done. Amina stared at Diana, tears streaming. They lied. Again. Diana closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, something had hardened. She straightened, lifting her chin, her voice carrying over the noise. Everyone can see this now, she said. You've made sure of it. The suited man looked uneasy for the first time. The worst betrayal, Diana said, is when help wears a uniform. A sudden siren wailed nearby, louder than before. A transport van turned the corner and stopped directly in front of the children. The van door hissed open, and Diana stepped forward instead of away. The metal door slid back with a hollow clang. Inside the van was darkness, broken only by a thin strip of fluorescent light. The kind of space that swallowed voices, the kind children didn't come back from the same. Amina's body went rigid. Yusuf buried his face into her side. No, Amina whispered. Please, not that. An officer gestured sharply. Now, Diana moved. She placed one hand on the van door and slammed it shut. The sound cracked through the air like a gunshot. Gasps erupted. Cameras shook. Someone shouted her name. The officer froze. Ma'am, you will not put them in there, Diana said. Her voice wasn't loud. It was final. The suited man pushed forward, anger breaking through his polish. You are obstructing an official process. Then arrest me, Diana replied. The words detonated. An aide whispered urgently. You can't say that. I just did, Diana said. Amina looked up, eyes wide. You'd go too. Diana knelt, steadying the girl's shaking hands. I won't let you go alone. The crowd surged closer now. No longer spectators, faces twisted with disbelief, admiration, fear. A woman cried out, let them stay together. A man shouted, this is wrong. The officer hesitated, torn between orders and the impossible optics unfolding. The suited man hissed, do you know what this will cost you? Diana stood slowly, turning to face him fully. Yes, she said, and I'm paying it gladly. Yusuf peeked out, voice small. Are you scared? Diana met his eyes. Yes, the honesty startled him. But I'm still here, she added. That did something. Not just to the children, to everyone watching. The officer lowered his hand from his radio. I can't do this, he muttered. The suited man snapped. You don't have a choice. Diana stepped closer to him, lowering her voice so only he could hear. Neither do you, she said. The world is watching. He looked around. The cameras, the crowd, the silence waiting to see who would blink first. For a long moment, no one moved. Then the officer stepped back. One step, the van door stayed closed. A ripple of sound moved through the crowd. Not cheers, not applause. Relief. Amina collapsed against Diana, sobbing quietly. Yusuf wrapped his arms around both of them. An aide whispered, stunned. You just defied everyone. Diana didn't look proud. She looked resolved. Good, she said. They needed defying. The suited man turned away, already dialing his phone again. His expression darker now. Sometimes, Diana said softly, the only way to protect a child is to stand in the way. The phone call connected. The man spoke one sentence. Everything changed. Diana felt a hand grip her shoulder from behind. And it wasn't security. If kindness still matters, comment she was seen. The grip tightened, and the air turned electric. Diana didn't turn immediately. She didn't have to. The weight of the hand on her shoulder told her everything. Authority without introduction. Confidence without permission. Princess, a low voice said, controlled and unfamiliar. You need to step away. The crowd leaned forward as one body. Diana slowly turned her head. The man behind her wore no uniform, no badge, just a dark coat and a look that suggested consequences. And you are? Diana asked. Someone who cleans up situations like this, he replied. Amina stiffened again. Yusuf clutched Diana's coat. I don't want to go, Yusuf whispered. Diana placed a hand over his, grounding. You're not. The man's eyes flicked to the cameras. This is becoming a problem. For who? Diana asked. For everyone, he said, especially you. A suited official approached quickly, whispering, This is spiraling. Orders are coming from very high up. Diana looked around the bridge. The children, the crowd packed shoulder to shoulder. Faces no longer curious but invested. Good, she said again. Let them come. The man leaned closer, voice colder. You're jeopardizing agreements you don't even know exist. Diana's eyes didn't waver. Then they were fragile to begin with. Amina whispered, Is he going to hurt you? The man heard her. No one wants that, he said flatly. Diana stepped forward, closing the space between them. Then take your hand off me. The pause stretched. Cameras clicked, breath held, the hand dropped. A quiet wave of sound moved through the crowd. Not cheers. Respect. The officer who had stepped back earlier spoke up. Louder now. We're standing down. The suited man snapped. You can't make that call. I just did, the officer replied. The man in the dark coat scanned the scene again. Too many eyes. Too much recording. The power balance had shifted. He exhaled sharply. This isn't over. Diana nodded. I know. She turned back to Amina and Yusuf, kneeling again, lowering herself until the chaos faded behind them. Do you trust me? She asked Amina. The girl hesitated, then nodded once. Diana smiled softly. Then we're leaving together. An aide rushed forward. Transportation is ready. A safe place. Together, Diana repeated. The aide nodded quickly. Together, the man in the coat stepped aside, jaw tight. As Diana rose, the crowd parted instinctively. No shouting now. No accusations, just silence heavy and watching. Amina took her hand. Yusuf held on with both arms. They walked past the van, past the officers, past the man who had thought this would end quietly. The bridge disappeared behind them, but the weight of what had just happened didn't. Diana felt it in her chest. The cost, the storm waiting beyond the cameras. She didn't slow. When power expects silence, Diana said quietly, it never expects courage. The car door opened. As Diana helped the children inside, her aide whispered urgently, pale-faced. They're calling this a breach, a very serious one. Diana looked once more at the crowd, then into the car. As the door closed, sirens wailed again. This time following them, the sirens grew louder, and no one inside the car spoke. The vehicle pulled into traffic, smooth and controlled, but the sound behind them refused to fade. Red and blue lights flickered across the windows, flashing like a warning that this moment wasn't finished, claiming its price. Amina pressed her forehead to the glass. They're following us. Yusuf crawled closer to Diana, small hands gripping her sleeve. Are we in trouble? Diana looked straight ahead. Not the kind that matters. The driver's voice was tight. They're keeping distance, for now. An aide leaned forward from the front seat. Phones are exploding. Government offices. The palace. Everyone wants to know what you think you're doing. Diana didn't answer immediately. She watched the city pass. Shops, people, ordinary life continuing as if nothing had cracked open. What happens to them? Diana asked quietly. The aide hesitated. If this escalates, custody discussions. Legal intervention. Amina stiffened instantly. You promised. Diana turned, meeting her eyes fully. I promised you wouldn't disappear. And you won't. But they can make you let go, Amina said. They always do. Diana's jaw tightened. Not this time. The sirens dipped suddenly, then surged again. Closer now. Yusuf whimpered. I don't like the noise. Diana pulled him gently into her side. I know. Listen to me instead. He did. The driver slowed at a light. The police car edged closer in the mirror. An aide whispered. They're waiting for an excuse. For what? Diana asked. To force control back. The light turned green. The car moved. Diana exhaled slowly. Then we don't give them one. Amina studied her face, searching for cracks. Why are you really helping us? Diana didn't look away this time. Because someone should have helped sooner. The car turned down a quieter street. The sirens faded just a little. The aide's phone buzzed again. There's talk of an emergency statement. Damage control. Diana gave a short, humorless breath. Truth control. Yusuf yawned, exhaustion overtaking fear. Are we safe now? Diana smoothed his hair. We're moving towards safe. The driver glanced back. We're nearing the residence. Before anyone could respond, a second set of sirens ignited ahead, blocking the road. The car slowed sharply. Amina's breath caught. They're stopping us. Diana straightened, her calm returning like armor. Stay with me, she said to the children. Uniformed figures stepped into the street, hands raised, commanding. The driver stopped. An officer approached the window, posture rigid. Rehearsed. Princess, he said, we need you to step out of the vehicle. Amina grabbed Diana's coat. Please don't leave us. Diana covered her hand with her own. I'm not going anywhere. The officer's gaze flicked to the children. Then away. This is for your own protection, he said. Diana met his eyes through the glass. Whose? When truth is inconvenient, Diana said quietly, authority panics. The officer took a step back and spoke into his radio. Behind him, another vehicle arrived, unmarked, dark, unmistakably deliberate. The rear door opened, and a familiar suited man stepped out, smiling again. The smile returned, and it was colder than the sirens. The suited man stepped into the street with practiced ease, as if this roadblock had always belonged to him. His shoes gleamed under the flashing lights. His smile was calm, rehearsed, dangerous. Princess, he said, nodding slightly. We keep meeting like this. Diana remained seated, one arm protectively around Yusuf, the other resting near Amina. You seem to enjoy interruptions, she replied. He glanced into the car, eyes lingering just long enough on the children. This isn't appropriate transportation. Amina shrank back. He's the one. Diana's grip tightened almost imperceptibly. You're causing institutional instability, the man continued. This needs to be corrected, quietly. Quietly for whom? Diana asked. For everyone who matters, he said. The officer at the window shifted uneasily. Sir, how do you want to proceed? The man didn't look at him. Escort the children to protective custody. Amina's breath hitched. No. Yusuf clutched Diana's coat again. You said together. Diana leaned forward, voice steady but sharp. They don't leave this car. The man sighed, as if disappointed. You're forcing a confrontation. No, Diana said. You are. He straightened. If you persist, this will escalate beyond your control. Diana studied his face, then nodded once. It already has. She opened the door. Gasps rippled through the officers as Diana stepped onto the street, placing herself squarely between the man and the car. The sirens continued to wail, but the sound felt distant now. You want them? Diana asked quietly. You go through me. The man's smile faltered for half a second. This is absurd, he said. You're not untouchable. I never said I was, Diana replied. But neither are you. Cameras appeared again. Drivers stopped, phones raised, a growing circle of witnesses forming in real time. The officer whispered, Sir, we're being recorded. The man glanced around. Too many angles, too much light. Diana turned slightly, speaking without looking back. Amina, Yusuf, stay where you are. Amina nodded, tears sliding down silently. Don't let go. I won't, Diana said. The man leaned closer, lowering his voice. You think this ends well? Diana met his eyes fully now. I think it ends truthfully. A long pause stretched between them. Finally, the man stepped back, lifting his hands slightly. Stand down, he muttered. The officers hesitated, then obeyed. A collective breath released from the street. Diana turned back to the car, helping the children closer to the door, shielding them with her body. The man watched her, expression no longer amused. This isn't finished, he said. Diana didn't turn around. I know, she replied. Power hates witnesses, Diana said. That's why I brought the world. The driver restarted the engine. As the car pulled away, Diana caught a glimpse of the man speaking urgently into his phone. His calm gone, replaced by urgency. As the gates of the residence came into view, an aide whispered 4 words that made Diana close her eyes. They're calling an inquiry. The gates closed behind them, and the real danger finally arrived. The iron gates slid shut with a low mechanical hum, sealing the car inside the residence grounds. For the first time since the street, the sirens disappeared. Silence rushed in to replace them, thick and unnatural. Amina flinched at the quiet. Is it over? Diana didn't answer immediately. She watched the gates in the mirror, as if expecting them to reopen. No, she said finally. It's beginning. Inside the residence, staff gathered in uneasy clusters. Whispers spread faster than footsteps. No one smiled. No one clapped. This wasn't a victory parade. It was a reckoning. An aide opened the door quickly. They want a statement. Immediately. Later, Diana replied. She helped Amina and Yusuf out of the car. Yusuf stared at the building, eyes wide. It's big, he whispered. It's just walls, Diana said. You decide what it becomes. Inside, warmth wrapped around them, but tension followed close behind. Phones rang non-stop. Voices echoed from distant rooms. Power moved fast when it felt threatened. A doctor approached gently. They should be checked. Amina stiffened again. We're not being split up. They won't be, Diana said, before anyone else could speak. The doctor nodded and stepped back. An aide rushed in again, breathless. The inquiry is official. They're questioning judgment, boundaries, authority. Of course they are, Diana said calmly. Amina tugged her sleeve. Are you in trouble because of us? Diana crouched, meeting her eyes. No, I'm in trouble because of them. Yusuf yawned, exhaustion overtaking adrenaline. Diana lifted him without thinking. He rested his head against her shoulder, trusting, unafraid. That trust hurt more than any accusation. A senior advisor entered, voice hushed. They're suggesting this was emotional misconduct. Diana laughed softly once. No humor in it. Children starving isn't emotional, she said. It's factual. They may try to restrict your movements, the advisor continued. Limit engagements, then they'll have to explain why, Diana replied. Amina watched every exchange, absorbing tone more than words. They don't like you now, she said. Diana brushed hair from her face. They liked me better when I was quiet. A heavy pause settled. From the hallway, a television flickered on. News footage already rolling. The bridge. The van. Diana standing in front of it. Yusuf stirred. That's you. Diana looked at the screen. Yes, Amina swallowed. What if they make you send us away? Diana didn't dodge the fear this time. Then I'll make more noise than they can handle, she said. A knock echoed through the room. Firm. Official. An aide opened the door slightly, face pale. They're here. Who? Diana asked. The aide hesitated. People who don't ask. Diana handed Yusuf gently to a nurse, then straightened her coat. Her calm returned. Not soft, not warm, but immovable. She looked back at Amina. Stay right here, she said. I'm not done yet. They can question my position, Diana said, but not my conscience. She turned toward the door. On the other side waited a panel with the power to end everything or expose it all. The door closed behind her, and the air felt thinner instantly. The room was smaller than expected. No windows, no decoration, just a long table, 3 chairs on one side, one on the other. Power-like symmetry when it interrogated. Diana sat alone. Across from her, 3 figures exchanged brief looks, measured, practiced. Papers lay stacked neatly, as if truth could be organized into columns. One of them spoke first. This inquiry is informal. Diana tilted her head. Those are usually the most dangerous. A pen clicked. You acted without authorization. I acted with urgency, Diana replied. Another voice, colder. You interfered with public order. Diana folded her hands. I prevented harm. A pause. Pens stopped moving. You are not a social worker, the first voice said, nor law enforcement. No, Diana agreed. I'm a witness. The word landed harder than expected. The second figure leaned forward. Your presence escalated the situation. Diana met his gaze. So did hunger. Silence again. A page flipped. You embarrassed institutions. Diana nodded once. Good. The third figure finally spoke. Do you understand the consequences of defying procedure? Diana didn't answer immediately. She thought of Amina's hands, Yusuf's head on her shoulder, the van door closing. Yes, she said. I understood them the moment I stopped the car. That was impulsive, the first voice pressed. That was human, Diana replied. The pen clicked faster now. We could recommend restrictions, the second figure warned. Limit your engagements, your access. Diana leaned back slightly. Then you'll have to explain why helping children required punishment. A shift. Unease. The third figure cleared his throat. This isn't about children. It's about precedent. Diana's eyes sharpened. Exactly. They didn't like that answer. Outside the room, faint noise leaked through. A murmur of voices. Phones ringing. A building under pressure. Inside, the questions continued. Controlled. Circular. Would you do it again? Did you consider the optics? Who advised you? Diana answered evenly, never raising her voice. Yes, no, no one. Finally, the first figure closed the file. This inquiry will deliberate, he said. Until then, we advise discretion. Diana stood. I advise courage, she replied. They watched her carefully now. Not annoyed, not angry, concerned. As the door opened, an aide rushed toward her, eyes wide. The footage is everywhere. Diana didn't slow. Good. They weren't ready for the response, the aide added. Diana stopped walking for the first time. What response? She asked. The aide swallowed. Public, global, and growing. When truth escapes rooms like that, Diana said quietly, it never goes back in. She turned toward the corridor leading back to the children. A staff member ran toward her, breathless, holding a folder marked urgent, its contents shaking the palace itself. The folder trembled in his hands, and everyone felt it. The staff member stopped inches from Diana, chest rising and falling too fast. The red label on the folder screamed urgency without words. This just came in, he said. They didn't expect it to surface. Diana took the folder, her expression unreadable. What is it? Records, he replied. Internal transfers. Shelter placements. Complaints buried. The corridor seemed to narrow as she opened it. Page after page told the same story. Children relocated, siblings separated, funding redirected, names erased with clinical efficiency. Amina's fears suddenly had context. Diana closed the folder slowly. Behind her, aides gathered, reading over shoulders, faces draining of color. This contradicts everything they testified, one whispered. Another added, if this goes public, it already is, Diana said. A television down the hall blared louder now. Headlines scrolled, footage replayed, public outrage building like a wave. Amina appeared at the doorway, eyes searching. What happened? Diana turned instantly, softening. Come here. Amina approached, cautious but drawn. Are they making you send us away? Diana knelt, holding the folder against her knee. They tried to. Amina's voice dropped. And now, Diana opened the folder just enough for the girl to see the pages. Not the words, just the weight. Now, she said, they have explaining to do. Yusuf padded in behind her, rubbing his eyes. Why is everyone shouting on the TV? Because the truth is loud, Diana said. An advisor rushed forward, urgent. This changes everything. If you release this, it implicates multiple departments. Diana stood. Then they should have behaved better. The advisor hesitated. This could burn bridges. Diana looked down at Amina. Some bridges lead back to the fire. Phones rang again. Louder, faster. A staff member whispered. They're requesting an immediate private meeting. No cameras. Diana's lips curved slightly. Interesting timing. She handed the folder to an aide. Make copies. Send them everywhere. The aide blinked. Everywhere. Everywhere, Diana repeated. Amina's eyes widened. You're not scared? Diana paused. Honest again? I am. But you're still doing it, Amina said. Yes, Diana replied, because fear shouldn't decide who gets protected. The television volume spiked. Anchors speaking urgently. Experts speculating. Public figures reacting in real time. A message flashed across the screen. Inquiry suspended pending review. The corridor erupted into overlapping voices. They backed off. They panicking. This is unprecedented. Diana didn't celebrate. She walked back toward the children, kneeling once more, grounding herself in their presence. They're going to fight back, Amina said quietly. Diana met her gaze. I know, Yusuf leaned against her side. Will we have to run? Diana wrapped an arm around both of them. No. She looked down the corridor where officials gathered. Whispers sharp and frantic. They'll come louder, an aide warned. Diana straightened, her resolve settling like armor. When power scrambles, Diana said, it's because it's been exposed. Footsteps echoed rapidly from the far end of the hall. Too many, too synchronized. Diana turned as a senior official approached with a single sentence that threatened to flip the story completely. The official didn't sit down, and that changed everything. He stopped a few steps away, breath controlled, eyes alert in the way people look when plans collapse faster than excuses. The hallway quieted instinctively. There will be no further proceedings, he said. The sentence landed like a dropped glass. Aides froze. Advisors stared. Someone whispered, What? Diana studied his face. That's a sudden reversal. He nodded once. Public pressure has altered the situation. Amina tightened her grip on Diana's sleeve. Does that mean we're safe? For now, the official replied carefully. Diana didn't miss the hesitation. You're not here to apologize, she said. No, he admitted. I'm here to contain damage. Diana looked down at the children, then back at him. Then you're late. The television behind them exploded with sound. Anchors interrupting each other. Footage replaying again and again. Protest signs already visible outside government buildings. Faces angry, voices united. The official lowered his voice. We underestimated the reaction. You underestimated humanity. Diana replied. He exhaled. There will be resignations. Names. Diana asked. Soon, he said. Amina looked up. What about the other kids? The question cut deeper than any accusation. The official hesitated. Too long. Diana stepped forward. She asked you something. He swallowed. Reviews will be conducted. That's not an answer, Diana said. Yusuf tugged her coat. She means kids like us. Diana knelt again, steady and present. I know. She stood, eyes never leaving the official. This doesn't end with 2 children. The official nodded slowly. We're aware. The corridor buzzed again, phones vibrating, doors opening, people rushing with papers and panic. A system scrambling to survive exposure. An aide whispered urgently. They're requesting a joint appearance. You, the children. Immediate. Amina stiffened. On TV? Diana crouched. Only if you want to. Amina looked at Yusuf. He nodded. Yes, Amina said quietly. I want them to see. Diana straightened. The official's brows lifted slightly. That would be unprecedented. So was letting children starve quietly, Diana replied. He gave a thin smile. You don't make this easy. Diana met his eyes. Good. As they moved toward the press hall, the noise grew, voices chanting outside now, echoing through stone walls. Amina whispered, "Will they listen?" Diana squeezed her hand gently. "They already are." Behind them, the official spoke into his phone, voice tense. "Prepare statements, all of them." The doors to the press hall opened. Light flooded out. Cameras waited. The world leaned forward. Diana paused at the threshold, heart steady, shoulders squared. "When silence protects the wrong people," Diana said softly, "it deserves to be broken." She stepped forward with Amina and Yusuf beside her. As the first camera lights snapped on, Amina leaned toward the microphone and spoke 5 words no one expected. The microphone crackled, and the room forgot how to breathe. The lights burned hot. Camera lenses zoomed in, hungry and unforgiving. Diana stood still, one hand resting lightly on Amina's shoulder. Yusuf close at her side. The world watched, waiting for something rehearsed. Amina leaned forward. "I ate trash," she said. 5 words. No tremor, no shame. The room collapsed into silence. A reporter dropped his pen. Another froze mid-blink. Somewhere in the back, a sharp inhale broke the stillness. "I ate trash," Amina repeated, louder now, "because we were hungry." Diana didn't move. She didn't interrupt. She let the truth stand on its own. Yusuf tugged the microphone down slightly. "She gave me the good part." A ripple moved through the room. Not noise, but feeling. Raw. Uncontainable. A journalist tried to speak. His voice failed. Amina continued, eyes scanning the sea of faces. "They told us to wait. They said help was coming." Her hands tightened together. It didn't. Diana felt the weight of the moment settle. Not on her shoulders, but on everyone else's. An official cleared his throat. "We are initiating reforms." "No," Diana said calmly. Every head turned. "You will answer first," she continued. "Then you can promise." The official hesitated. Cameras leaned in. A reporter finally found his voice. "Princess, what do you want to happen now?" Diana looked down at the children, then back up. "I want this to never be normal again," she said. Applause broke out. Not polite, not controlled. It rolled through the room like a wave. Amina flinched at the sound. Diana knelt instantly, grounding her. "You did well." "I was scared," Amina whispered. "You were brave anyway," Diana replied. Outside, chants grew louder. Names were being called now. Demands shouted. The system felt it in its bones. Later, in a quiet room far from the cameras, Amina sat with a warm bowl in her hands. Yusuf leaned against Diana, half asleep. "Are we going back under the bridge?" Yusuf murmured. Diana shook her head. "No." Amina studied her carefully. "Will you forget us?" Diana met her gaze, unwavering. "Never." The door opened softly. An aide stepped in, eyes wet. "Emergency funding approved. Independent oversight. Immediate shelter placements together." Amina closed her eyes. Just for a second. Diana exhaled slowly, deeply. Outside, the world kept talking, debating, arguing. But something had shifted. Not because of power, because a child spoke. "They heard us," Amina said quietly. "Because you stopped." Diana smiled. Not triumphant, not relieved, resolved. The cameras would move on. Headlines would fade. But some moments didn't belong to the news. They belonged to history. If kindness still matters, comment she was seen.